Welcome to the first episode of All New World. Let's get started. We started in 1926, 8 years after the end of the First World War. Now that each government has changed and isn't as in the heat of the moment, the existing peace deals are considered a little bit too harsh and are being reworked. And by that I mean new region with referendum. Those regions are northern South Tyrol, which is a majority German population, the southern Sudetenland, southern Slovakia, and that's pretty much it. Those regions will have respectively a choice of joining either the Republic of Austria or the Kingdom of Italy for northern South Tyrol. For the southern Sudetenland, either to join Czechoslovakia or the Austrian Republic, and Czechoslovakia or Hungary for southern Slovakia. No, well, yes, this is 1926, 3 years afterward. An economical crisis starts in the United States, which quickly spread into the whole world except for the Soviet Union, but whatever. So yes, the Great Depression is now starting, and countries are still affected by it because it still exists. So yeah, of course, countries are still affected by it. And the main one is still Germany, being affected in many ways. The first one is obviously that radical ideologies are rising up, and the second one is unique to this seri. And the second one being unique to this seri, and this comes from East Prussia. Historically, East Prussia was the most conservative region of Germany due to its importance in the unification and all of that. So obviously they were already supporting the return of the monarchy and were pretty much against the Weimar Republic. In this timeline, this is represented by a monarchist party, which basically each time doesn't do well except in East Prussia, because the rest of Germany basically doesn't care. And with this economical crisis, East Prussia does a referendum to either stay with the Weimar Republic or become independent, and 95% of people in East Prussia choose to be independent. So they became independent. And while yes, the Weimar Republic would like to send soldiers, they don't have any money, so they can't send soldiers, so they just deal with the problem. In Spain, the civil war still happens. In the same way, the only two big differences. One, the nationalist captures quickly Catalonia, preventing an anarchist revolution, which gives them a little bit more of stability. And the second one being that the Soviets won't be able to help this time, or at least they won't really care that much. Because the reason for that is that the Soviet Union still does the thing about farmers in Ukraine, which caused this time a small revolution, which doesn't do really much damage but is distracting enough to prevent the Soviets from helping the Republicans. While Germany still gets the Austrian Peter as leader, of course. And the Ukrainian revolution does kinda well until it doesn't. I don't think this is really much of a surprise. So the revolution doesn't last very long, which again isn't really a surprise. It does mean that the Spanish Civil War finished almost 1 year earlier, which is really something really important, of course. Now, in the rest of Europe, referendum are ending. The first one being the Saarland, which still chooses to join with Germany which at this point is led by the Austrian painter, which not only is really aggressive, but is also aggressive against Prussia, because kind of use the fact that they became independent during an economical crisis to say it's kind of their fault, and they're not really true Germans, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I won't say much because I like my video. And so southern Slovakia chooses to join with Hungary, with being really close. Here are the numbers on the screen. And well, northern South Tyrol and southern Sudetenland won't really have a choice, because there is no Austria no more, because you know, Anschluss just happened, because it still happens, of course. So Italy takes, of course, northern South Tyrol and parts of Dalmatia without asking, and yeah, everything is cancelled. And of course, the Allies will try to use this as propaganda, saying that, you know, the Austrian painter just really want to expand because he didn't care about German people joining a German nation. Instead, he preferred annexing a German nation and let those people in other countries. And well, the Austrian painter says, right, like, again, propaganda, that, you know, the northern South Tyrol was supposed to go to Italy according to the Treaty of London of 1915. So yeah, this does make the friendship between Italy and Germany stronger. Germany still does the Munich conference, which goes in the exact same way, no changes here, and Poland still gets the free land. And you know, some rebels in Slovakia, totally not related to Germany and not helped by them, became independent. You know, this state is totally not controlled by Germans. Don't worry about it. And yeah, same for Bohemia, Moravia, yet totally independent, man. Trust me, bro. And Hungary is like, yeah, free land, so they just take that. And right afterward, you know, the Austrian painter still asks for the majority German land in Poland, which, well, you know, isn't really taken seriously. In the meantime, you know, Prussia is begging for Netherlands to give them Wilhelm II, which Netherlands keeps saying no to. And Lithuania, you know, Memel, which is a mainly German and Memelandish region, was annexed illegally by Lithuania, so Prussia is trying to not get the attention by the West, but realizing that they won't really get any attention right now, because, you know, there is literally a bigger threat right now. They invade Lithuania for not respecting the League of Nations mandates, which, you know, technically they don't. So, and Lithuania quickly gave up, and of course, because it was not really a war of aggression, Prussia doesn't annex anything except for Memel after a Quebec referendum. And this is where the Allies realized that, you know, maybe we can use Prussia real quick to, you know, prevent Germany from having an excuse to invade Poland. You're just like, oh yeah, Prussia, so let's do a referendum and, you know, some small border change, and Prussia just annexed this, and yeah, peace in our time, yay. In exchange, the Allies, though, forced the Netherlands to send Wilhelm II into Prussia. Germany still really isn't happy about it, because they're like, now they actually rigged Prussia, you know, because like, they forced Prussia to accept this much land, you know, so they still invade, even though they literally don't have a reason to. And yeah, this goes as well as you expect. And well, they try to invade Prussia, they don't manage, because Prussia was basically ready for this. It's like they got independence because they knew this was going to happen. they were like, yes, they're obviously going to invade one day. So they were ready for that. At the same time, the Soviet Union still invade Poland, even though they're a little bit weaker due to this small revolution from earlier. And Poland basically still gets fallen in a few months. It's basically still happens, and in the West does nothing because phony war. So this really still happens, and of course Poland just give up, and also Lithuania takes Vilnius because why not? So Molotov-Ribbentrop does Molotov-Ribbentrop, and the peace deal is basically the same thing as the historical one, and also Germany managed to do a small breakthrough in Prussia, but yeah. So this basically doesn't change at all, and now they try to break in Prussia, which by the time, which they don't work, like they really don't. They do a small push, but they're getting immediately pushed back, and because Germany doesn't have infinite time, they invade Denmark, and this time they don't fall in 6 hours, but in 4. Which is really important. Of course, everybody knows that. And Germany still gets no way. This doesn't change. This basically goes as historically. But it clearly goes as historically. So this is an X, and Germany also goes, of course, through the lowland countries, and with this distraction, Prussia tries to invade, of course, Danzig, and Germany realized, oh wait, yeah, that's right, Prussia exists, so they sent a lot of soldiers. This took a lot of lives, and took obviously many soldiers from here to here. Only to, Battle of Königsberg, German victory. Second Battle of Königsberg, Prussian victory, bro. And, at some point, Prussia still falls anyway. Except for a small village in the middle of nowhere. Because Prussia, baby. So, this village doesn't give up, but, so they it's so small village, they send 1,000 soldiers and they'll get killed because 500 Prussian professional soldiers are here, plus the population of the inhabitants. So anyway, it's not really important, but do keep that in mind. And here this basically goes as historically. They try to go through France. But this time, less French troops are caught in Dunkirk, more are in Normandy. French troops are not as fast to arrive here, so a little bit less are captured. And this means that yes, France do hold on for a little bit here. Italy doesn't annex Albania because. Albania is still basically a puppet. I'm not joking here, but they don't have enough infrastructure directly annex them like they in our timeline. Although it's basically Italian, it's just they don't really annex it. And with Germany winning, Italy is like, we can do this, guys. So they declare war. They do kind of well. Oh damn, Italy looks like they're going to be useful. Look at that, they're pushing a little. And yeah, never mind, it's Italy, guys. What do you expect? It's Italy, come on. I don't know what you guys were expecting. Come on, they do push back the French a little. And they basically got in stalemate in the mountains in the north, though. it's not doing really going really good for the French, and and with Pétain being now in charge with the rest of the government resigning, and Pétain preferring collaborating with the Germans than flying to London. Yes, it was literally his own words, he surrenders, although many French soldiers and Charles de Gaulle himself, instead don't go to London, they just fled to Africa. And fun fact, Pétain didn't do that because he didn't want to be, forced to rely on Africa because it was kind of racist and all. Anyway, Germany is still doing their thing with Vichy, and Italy is gaining a little bit more land this time than historically, because this time they actually did something. So although they don't gain Tunisia because French soldiers are here, and Vichy is established. Of course, along the way, Germany creates its many puppet states or right commissariat. I don't know if it will get me demonetized, but whatever. So you got the one in the Netherlands, of course, the one in Belgium. You got the Danish one, of course. You obviously, and finally the Norwegian one. So yes, all of those commissariat, and I won't say it again because I feel like my video will be destroyed if I say that word once again. Anyway, Europe is basically now under full German control. When that happens, the Soviet Union still does its things. The Winter War goes in the same way. Long territory goes basically in the same way as in our timeline. Small exchange of territories, nothing too crazy. Now, there is the Balkans, which are going to have a lot of changes. This time Hungary won't join the Axis for now, due to the fact that not only they do insist on wanting Slovakia, due to the fact that they had southern Slovakia way before the Axis got to this point, but also because Romania joins the Axis earlier than in our timeline due to obviously the Romanian oil production. So yeah, the Hungarians aren't really happy about that. Although the Germans aren't really happy about the Hungarians leading, in our timeline, Polish troops through Hungary. So, negative view on each other, but the Germans don't feel like it will be worth it to attack Hungary, especially if they get help from the UK afterwards, so it will not be really worth it. In Africa, the French didn't give up, so they attack obviously Italian positions, which are getting destroyed. So what is done? Well, with all that effort and the fact that the Spanish have won their civil war way earlier, the Spanish joined the Axis and moved quickly and managed to quickly capture French Morocco. And and of course an Italian landing happens in Tunisia. In the same time, Germany tries to get Turkey on their side, promising, Iraq Syria, parts of Greece, and even British Egypt, which for now is thought on for the Turks, but they don't choose to join yet, as they kind of don't want to be invaded by the Soviet just in case, or they are even scared of an British invasion. So for now, they don't officially join the Axis. Yugoslavia still joins the Axis for a few days before getting invaded by the Axis, with Bulgaria obviously joining the Axis, still joining the Axis. And the partition goes as well as in our timeline. So yeah, this still happens. They don't really have the best luck, the Yugoslavs. And even Hungary, well, not in the Axis, still managed to gain something out of this due to pure fear of not being strong enough and getting killed. Of course, this state is still created, of course. This doesn't change at all. And yes, the Yugoslav government runs in London just in time when this happens. Italians also send most of their troops in Tunisia and manage to capture most of the north. While this is happening, with all those victories, Turkey finally decides to join the Axis and begins to invade French area, which originally goes well. Then they invade Iraq, which also goes pretty well, like really well. So they think, hey, we're invincible. So they invade Kuwait. Oh, this goes even more well. And maybe like this goes a little too well, and yes, because in fact British invasion through Cyprus, so yeah, it was a trick. Greece is also getting invaded, gets partitioned in a pretty gruesome way, by that I mean like the exact same way up, a little bit less for the Bulgarians, but overall it's basically what happened. And yeah, the Albanians still aren't annexed by the Italians, but whatever, In the meantime, the Soviet Union still annexes the Baltic states. And yeah, it's basically goes in the exact same way as you would expect. And these still acts for Bukovina and Moldova from Romania, which, considering the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, the Germans won't do anything about it. So Romania is also forced by the Germans to give up their land. And Hungary tried to do that, which it does work, because they're kind of scared that if they do war against Hungary, the Soviets might invade too, and the Germans might do the same thing. But not acting. So yeah, Hungary is overall getting a pretty good thing. They're not doing anything and didn't join the Axis. And well, guess what? Germany actually do care that a neutral country messed up their plans, so they invade Hungary, which technically makes them join the Allies. And it kind of goes well, especially with the Slovaks kind of wanting revenge. And obviously the Romanians attacking. And this goes so well that this pushes the Hungarians into their really core territory, and by that I mean, like the Budapest, And yes, they're getting folded. Although do not worry, cause the French get back on with the France, and yes, they got back and basically with help of resistance back home managed to retake Vichy France and kind of push back, although they still really push back the Germans that much more. But the Italians, however, are getting pushed back, and even in Tunisia and North Africa. So I mean, I won't update it because it's not shown on the map, but just you gotta know that the Aegean theater goes in the exact same way. Nothing will change. I'm just too tired to change here anything. I mean, for now, nothing will change. Nothing will change at all, like map. Just you'll see. And you know, with this happening, the French decide to send spies through Switzerland into Austria to start a coup with people that like the Habsburgs, and in exchange, if the war is won by the Allies, the Habsburg will be returned to Austria. So this starts a mini civil war, revolution, and this allows the Hungarians to push back the invasion, although being invaded from here, from by the Romanians, they're still invading, of course. Spain, well, not only are they getting invaded by the French now, but also the Portuguese, which kind of forced by the British to do that. And I said that nothing will change. Yeah, Japan still does its thing in Pearl Harbor. So now the Americans are even in the war, and even an equivalent of the day that happens 8 months earlier happens. So yes, the Germans aren't doing really good, but they managed to still having somewhat of a stalemate. So they decide that fuck it, they will trying to push back a little, and they actually manage, I guess, not by much, but it does kind of work, and the Soviets, feeling weakness, invade the German Reich. Oh my god, it's actually happening, and unless the Great Purge still happens, and with this rebellion and all, would be a shame if that happened too again. So yeah, they might have done something badly here. Yeah, maybe this wasn't really a smart move. So mini rebellion in Ukraine starts. I know this is not realistic, but does it look like I care? Because I don't exactly. So many rebellions in Ukraine starts, which totally aren't funded by the Germans, bro, trust me. And second battle is the village of Russia in Prussia, and it's still won by Prussia, even though the Germans sent 1,000 of their troops. What am I kidding? I mean, 15,000, and they all die except for 500, which just go around and be like, yeah, bro, maybe we shouldn't mess with Prussia. So the Soviets are getting pushed back, because the Germans still are the way they are. They still thinks that in a few weeks it'd be over, and then they could just crush the West. Because, of course, the Soviets are way weaker than the West. It totally makes sense, right? And, I mean, they do kind of push hard, but they clearly don't push as far as in our timeline and are getting pushed back. Although they get closer than our timeline from the Caucasus thanks to Turkey, and they even captures the Bakuel fleet for a while. By a while, I mean like 3 weeks. At the end of the day, yeah, they still lost that. And yeah, they're getting pushed back. I don't think they will want this, no? And after wall pushback from the Soviets and the stalemate finally breaking into the West favor and in other fronts, especially, you know, in Austria, which is very important. A landing with help of the Americans, you know, the American family coming to the continent, a landing by French and American forces in southern Italy, you know, a landing also in Normandy, the second landing in Normandy, and, you know, the Germans overall getting really pushed back. Spain also getting naval invaded and land invaded and basically invaded from everywhere, but also the Portuguese joining the war with the Allies, because Britain you know, were like, hey, you know that 1,000-year treaty? Yeah, we gotta respect that. And yeah, it doesn't go well. And you might think that, and yeah, the Prussians even are pushing back until the Soviet came in and just did the thing. Yeah, poor Prussians. And yeah, the Soviets are still going straight for Berlin. They don't care about anything else except if it's Ukraine, of course. And their territory that they were supposed to get. And yeah, still ends in a bad way. The West managed to push really back. I mean, it's so French, but mainly because I don't really want to switch color every 2 fucking seconds. But it's not only French forces. And yeah, the Soviets are still the first to Berlin. And so it's peace treaty time, and also the end of this video. So I'm gonna do the peace treaty. So here's the peace treaty with occupation zone, and yeah. So next episode is going to be about the peace treaty for the Asian theater and you know, the aftermath of World War II. So yeah, it was Yen Palo, historian. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time. Ciao, bye. Oh no.